Ready to have your mind blown? Repeat after me exactly and watch what happens during the next 24 hours. But the trick to all this is you have to know in your heart this is your new truth. No hoping it's going to work out, no wishful manifesting practice. You got to know in the conviction of your mind that this is now your new life. Hey, I'm Scott Haug. I've been doing this for over a decade and working with 2,500 clients, helping them get from stuck points to thriving in their next level. This stuff works because you know what's going on here? We're living in the matrix. We're living in a hologram. This world isn't real. Quantum physics shows in the quantum field it's all 99.9999% empty space. So your thoughts, your beliefs matter, and the emotionalized thoughts matter. And stick to the end of this video because we're going to go through a visual diagram of going from the spirit world to the mental world to the physical world. And that will start to increase your flow overnight. Now, before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed and throw a like on this video claiming, yes, I'm ready for an upgraded life. I'm ready for a new truth. And to commit to this new truth, already comment below the word truth 3 times. Truth is your new way, your new path. My first mentor was the great Bob Proctor. I worked with him very closely. And I remember him always constantly saying, you need to enter the spirit of life. You need to enter the spirit of what you're doing. In other words, you need to enter the truth of your work. You need to enter the truth of who you really are. And that's what we're about to do together. Final piece before we get into it, make sure you share this video with as many people as possible so that the world consciousness level increases. You and I can tag team this together and make sure the world is increasing consciousness. It's going to be a much more enjoyable place. Now, comment below, I'm ready. I'm ready for the new truth. And repeat exactly word for word after me. Assumption creates reality. And feeling is the secret. I now live from my wish fulfilled. And I vibrate at the frequency of completion. I am what I imagine myself to be. I see and accept my wealthy reality. It all starts and changes in consciousness. And the matrix bends to my will. Now, let's take a pause on the exercise and go ahead and comment below. Consciousness is where it starts. Consciousness is where it starts. And also, let's head over to the visual diagram so we can see what's going on here. So check this out. This will change your life. It changed mine so dramatically. You start in the spirit world. This is where we are actually manifesting from. Our world starts here before anything else changes in our life. And the spirit world mirrors over to the mental plane. Okay? So we'll call this mental world as well. This is your imagination. This is the eye of God, the eye of source, the eye of the higher power. This is where it all starts. And it's reflected then outwards and then reflected onto our 3D physical world. Okay, so we'll call it the 3D world. And this is what we see as a result. Okay, but most people are really frustrated or disappointed at the results and they keep trying to fix this. So they're not going to where the problem exists and was caused from, the consciousness level. They keep going to the effect. And since they're trying to change only the effect, it constantly is in a loop of the same results because their identity never really changes, their self-concept and their actions. Because constantly they think, I need to work on this. This gets reflected back into the spirit world, back to the mental world, back to the 3D world, and this self-fulfilling loop is chronically happening. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, when you don't actually know what's going on. But if you change this, if you start seeing every day in your imagination the exact results you want, and you stay faithful to the assumption, and you persist in that assumption until you become one with it. Not like you know about it, like you become one with it. You and it are one. When that happens, a new reality must start being reflected into the mental world. You'll start noticing your thoughts are different, your beliefs are different, your feelings are different, which then promotes different actions and reactions in the physical plane, which then can start to replicate a different world. We'll call this the green world instead of the blue. And since you have the green world, then you start seeing a different 3D world, what we call result happening. This is an instantaneous process. This happens now because there's only ever an eternal now, always. And for what Neville Goddard coins the natural focus is the 3D, you have your spiritual focus that can see the contents of time. When you go to your imagination, you go to your memory, you see the past, you see the now, and you see the future. It's all happening in an eternal now. All space and time coexist. You can't have space without time. You can't have time without space. They must coexist. So, since this is always the all content of all time, you start to reflect that this is your truth now. It's your spiritual truth. So, when you see yourself in a better position than you're at today, your mind might doubt and worry and say, that's not true. You're daydreaming. You're making this up, right? But at a higher level dimension, it is your truth. Because there's a part of you already experiencing it right now in the spirit plane, in the spirit world. Your soul, who you really are, is experiencing it right now. That's why we do I am statements, not I want, I will, because right now, it's your truth. You are literally experiencing a different parallel reality, the multiverse, if you will, version of you that's here. It's happening. And so there's just a little bit of a time lag between the spiritual truth and it becoming a physical result. And that's what gets people. It gets me a lot. And I've practiced at it, so it gets me far less than ever, but I still have to keep my mind in check. Okay? If I don't see a result within a day, within a week, I have to reassure myself to keep the faith and keep this understanding going. Since there's a time lag can mean 1 day, 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. It could be a little bit of a time lag. But that doesn't mean things aren't happening. Okay? So since there's this time lag between this mental projection and the physical world actually happening here, you need to remember this teaching. That's why I say come back to a video like this and watch it over and over and over. Because if you forget this awareness, you go back here. I'm so frustrated with what's going on. Nothing's changing. I'm not manifesting anything. The common phrase, law of attraction isn't working for me. I've heard that thousands of times after working in this field for over 10 years. Thousands of times. But it's like saying the law of gravity isn't working for me. That's ridiculous, right? The law of attraction is always working. And you're always manifesting 24/7. It's just, are you manifesting more things you want or more things that you don't want? That's all that's going on here, okay? So it's always happening. If you forget this, though, you constantly focus here instead of focus here. Your problems need to be solved in the spirit world. In the spirit world. And that's why I'm doing so much of the work that I'm doing in terms of very deep healing and consciousness work that I'm doing right now, more extremely and intensely than I've ever done in my entire life, even though I've done so much up until this point. Because this is what needs to change. If you ever want this to change, this has to change. And so if you remember every day I'm going to work, I'm literally going to work, not physical work. I'm going to work every day. When you visualize I'm going to work in the spirit world, this has helped my clients. I call this a soul gym. Okay? The soul gym. I'm going to the soul gym today. Most people have never been in the soul gym ever, not even once. So, okay, we have the physical gym here. You know, fitness is such a big thing in today's age. It wasn't that long ago. 100 years ago, fitness was not a thing, really, right? Or at least so prevalent. So, you know, a lot of people know about the gyms. There's gyms in every city, every town. There's gyms everywhere. Martial arts, you do cardiovascular system activities, and you do all the different exercises, all the different things, okay? I've been also in fitness all my life. So, there's fitness gyms. But what about soul gyms? The crazy part about it, most people will go to the fitness gym. Sometimes they're uncomfortable the first day in, or staying consistent might be a problem, right? All these different things, sure. But most people avoid the soul gym like the plague. The soul gym is the most difficult gym. It is the place where you face yourself. And you face every tiny shadow in your consciousness. You face every doubt, every worry, every fear, every wound, every tiny thing is in the soul gym. And this is massively difficult. It becomes easier, and for some people, this is already easy based on their consciousness level in terms of their elevated level of where they're at in terms of their consciousness, okay? So it might be easier for some, but it's almost always very difficult for others. Some of my clients and some people say that I've been healing for a long time. I don't want to heal anymore. I don't know why I'm still dealing with this stuff. You've only actually dabbled in the soul gym a little bit. I know a lot of people say I've worked with all clients all around the world, so many people, and we get our fair share of those coming in. They're in the beginner's mind, another fair share that say I've done healing for like 20 years. I'm an expert, I'm a master. I say, well, just look at what's going on inside you. Maybe you have been going to the soul gym a lot, but maybe, just maybe, it wasn't the exercises you needed, and there's something different you need. It's kind of like going to the gym, but what if you went in circles? You never used a machine, you never picked up a weight, you did go on the treadmill for like a couple of minutes, you're like, I don't know why I'm not my ideal weight. Well, maybe you have been going to the gym, but it hasn't been the thing you've been needing in the gym. Different when you just start saying, okay, I'm going to do 10 pounds and I don't know why I'm not muscular, versus having a personal trainer that stretches you to 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, right? Wouldn't you agree that's a very different gym session than doing a gym session that's not so good, yeah? Same thing with the soul gym. You might be going to the soul gym, but are you really going to the soul gym? Very different. So I want you to remember this when we finish part 2 of our phrases here upcoming in this video, that when we're saying these phrases out loud, they're true. They're true at a different dimension. They're true for who you really are. They're true for your eternal soul, your eternal child. This is true. So you come at it with an awareness. You're not doing an affirmation. You're not even trying to make the affirmation true in your physical world. You are trying to work in the soul gym to replicate this on the mental world, to replicate it then as a time lag later on in the physical world. Let's step into part 2. Pretty deep stuff, right? Understanding that you're doing all the work in the spirit world first is an awareness shift. It's an identity shift. You are completely different internally than ever before knowing all this. Now, also before we go into part 2, check out this short video, getting off YouTube and actually doing the deep soul gym work with me in my soul tribe. Check this out real quick. Doing the exercise we're doing right now works, but to truly master manifesting, you need daily direction in an elite environment outside of YouTube. That's why I've created the Manifestation Accelerator. It's an 84-module system. It takes 5 minutes a day, and all the practices you're going to need to rewire your subconscious. You'll join our soul tribe, get myself and my team's personal support, and also access to our 5-day challenge to manifest $1,000 or more. So join us inside the course. It's just $22 a month, and it's where the sustainable, real transformation happens permanently. I'll see you inside. Okay, we're back. Let's finalize part 2 and activate these phrases with your new level of awareness that these are your spiritual truths. You're working in the soul gym. Now, really, these phrases, you're working actually in the mental gym, but it is shaping a little bit of your soul gym. So in the very middle of that diagram, we went through soul gym and physical gym. Your mental gym is what we're doing these phrases in. So we're kind of bypassing a little bit of spirit plane, but we are going there as well. We're self-replicating. They both go together. And so I just wanted to make that clear as well, because sometimes when you're going to a soul gym, that's the deep healing work. Okay, so it's a little different. We're not doing deep healing work here in this video. This is more the mental side, but they coexist together, and that's why that was important that we shared this as well as a note. Okay, now repeat after me. My desire is proof of its existence. Before we do the next phrase, comment that below. My desire is proof of its existence. I think from wealth, not chasing it. I rest in the state of completion already. I am what I imagine myself to be. My reality reflects my inner core feeling. The unseen is where I do all my work. I trust in imagination more than circumstance. I'm feeling so good and so free. I feel at peace and complete. And so it is. Now, to solidify all this, comment below, and so it is. And so it is. Haug signing off here. I'll see you in the next video.